let's take a look, Sarah, at a game that came out this year as well that we played for a second here. Before that, and this is another.
Oh, yes.
Another.
We were playing this earlier.
Another $5 game that I feel like is probably going to be much more deserving of your $5. And this game, when you look at the trailer, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what you're doing. But I think once I jump into this, you're going to be like, okay, this is cool.
I'll try not to holler at the game this time.
So we have speed runs, we have infinite. Now I want to show you guys, I want to turn the music on real quick. The bad thing about this game, the thing I wish it had is a level of music, you know, a slider, but it doesn't have it. Music's either on or off. So the reason I played that music for a second is I wanted to show you the game. The game has really good hypnotic music that fit this kind of a game really well. I feel like the developer, Ian McClarty, you definitely need a slider for the music so I could go in and leave the music on. I'll have to turn it off, but not have it so loud that I can't talk, especially when I'm streaming. But we're going to go ahead and go back here. And you have the ability to do a game. I'll show you a game. You can do a speed run. You can do infinite. So you have a couple of different game modes here. We're going to go into a new game. And we're going to go ahead. Oops. New game. Yes. And this is WASD. And all you're doing, guys, the first one, I feel like it starts you off well. You're simply just trying to get all these boxes cleared. You can wrap around from top to bottom like that. And you can use the arrow keys if you want as well. And I'm sure you can use the controller. And then you hop in. Once you eat all the boxes, you hop in. And you go to the next level. And here, you just want to hop in, not get beat up by the spikes. Oops. Once you start playing, it becomes really obvious, I mean, what you're doing. Some of the levels take a little bit more exploring, I guess, to figure out what you got to do. That one starts off, you got to move really quickly or you're dead. The sound effects are amazing in this game, and Sarah, I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, but you'll hear that how well the sound effects are done in this game, and that's what I really like about this game.
Yeah, I've got it turned up.
Yeah. This game is just a whole new level of fun, and also you never know exactly what kind of puzzle you're going to get, and this is something the last game lacked, was the ability to hold your attention. Like I say, but not offering anything to refreshing or rewarding, this player goes into different levels, and I just feel like it does a lot better job of keeping you invested in the game or interested in playing.
Yes.
Oops. Sarah was laughing at me earlier. Weren't you, Sarah?
But I was also hollering.
Yeah, you were hollering. You're like,
I was hollering at the computer too.
Oops, I moved too fast. The controls are super responsive here. If you're not careful, you'll end up moving 2 spots when you only want to move 1.
You already like it better, Lauren? Yeah, I do as well.
Damn it, right to the end again. Yeah, this game's fun. This game really is fun. These near deaths are what's exciting. There we go. Oh, this one. I remember this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you were like, how do I get through?
I didn't know I could hop over the bars. There we go.
Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
Well, it does have more charm, Lauren. That's nice.
Oops.
Oh, no!
That was close. Oh my god.
That was a perfect time for the train horn. As you were going to the next level, it went off. That's awesome. Might be the only one who's
Damn it. Ow! This game is so fun. It's frustrating, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I slipped that one under.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one I didn't get past, Sarah. Remember?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Dang it. You've got to go much faster. Oh, no, no!
I almost had it!
Dang it! I have to go so fast.
There we go, I got it!
Yes, you did it! Oh, not now. Oh!
Oh shit. This game is so cool. It really is.
Come on, you can do this. Be in the corners.
I need to get a pattern.
You have to get out of the corners. Oh. This is not good.
There we go. Aha, I got my pattern now. Oh.
Oh.
I see what you have to do now, though.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Oops. Be patient.
You can do it.
Oops.
So close.
Oops. Oh, come on, man. Your timing has to be right on here. Come on, man. This thing is really testing you. Ooh. Got it! Woo! Oh god. This is a brilliant game. Damn it.
Oh, so close.
This game is awesome.
It is awesome.
Damn it. Damn it. Oh my god, look at this one. What the heck? All these different patterns, guys. Okay. This game, I'm only 15% done after this game, guys.
It's that hard already.
Yeah, I think you guys can see, but this game is original. I've never played a game quite like this. Obviously, there's a lot of games that you could say, hey, well, this is sort of like this. But this game doesn't copy any other existing game. I feel like this is a fresh new game by Ian McClarty. The only knock I have on this game right now, guys, is what, Sarah? I have one knock on it. What is it? I said it earlier. Maybe Lauren knows. Laura, what was my one knock on this game that I feel like it definitely needs? And that's because the music is really fantastic, but I can't listen to it because it's so damn loud. So I really wish there was a slider for the music and the sound effects rather than just on or off. If it had that, this game, I'm telling you right now, for $4.99, this game would be a perfect 100. There's no doubt about it. So rather than actually giving this game a score on value, I don't think I've ever done this. Rather than going in and saying value, absolutely 40 out of 40, no doubt about it. But rather than doing that and going and say, hey, this is a game that's so much fun, fun is 30 out of 30. This game is super fun. It's super addicting. This game's fucking brilliant, no doubt about it. So rather than going in and saying everything's a perfect score, because the music and the sound effects are amazing, the sound effects especially, music sounds like it's amazing, but for my live stream I had to turn it off because it's so damn loud. Put in sliders, you got a perfect 100, Mr. Ian. And his Zaxtor's any gold. Without the sliders, just because I feel like there's so much potential here for such a great game, I'm going to hit you harder for not having sliders in such a game because, let me go ahead and explain this. If we take an old man, right, an old man that has a lot of flaws and wrinkly skin, and he has a scar on his face, a blemish on his cheek, you're not going to notice that nearly as well as if you have a beautiful young lady that's like a 10 out of 10 and she has that same blemish on her cheek. That blemish is going to be a lot more noticeable. So in what would otherwise be a perfect game, you're not having sliders for music and sound effects in this game is a lot more noticeable. The little blemish you do have that I would probably take a couple of points away from in any other game, I'm hitting you for 5 points, JumpGrid. I'm also hoping this encourages you to add what you definitely need in this game, sliders for sound and music, so that people like this can listen to your great music in a game like this. 95% is my score, Ian. Perfect score everywhere, except for the one hit for not having sliders on music and sound effects, which I feel like this game really needs. I know it's a hard hit, but I know how easy it is to fix it as well. So, Ian McClarty, perfect game. One little blemish. 95, but a 95, Sarah, still makes what? What does it make?
Oh, it's your indie gold.
It is my indie gold, Zaxtor's indie gold, and I don't know what number that is, but it's a lot less than it is my Miss series. I know that.
I know.
So we have found another Zaxtor's indie gold with JumpGrid. This game is fucking fantastic, everybody. And the other reason too, the other thing to knock anybody watching this video or watching this stream or whatever that's thinking about buying JumpGrid and how hard I hit it for the 5 points on the music and slider not having sound effects, realize that is certainly no reason not to go out and support this developer and buy this game, because also the music, you could turn your speakers down, you could turn your volume down, but for me it's making it hard to stream and have that music on because the music's so loud. But for most people, it's probably not even going to be a thing at all. Most people are going to be like, "Man, this game's amazing."
Yeah, most people
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, it's not going to bug most people.
It's not going to bug most people.
It only is you because you are streaming it. So most people, it's not going to bother that there is no slider.
Yeah, I think that every game should have a slider for music, and I think that's a.
I know, and I do too. But you know.
I think the one thing I like doing these indie reviews, and I like doing this kind of stuff too, though, because I think this goes to show me that some of my games, like Rock and Roll, I believe, does have music for sliders, or has different sliders for the music and the sound effects. But I believe all my other games just have a, like Poggers, I know, just has one simple slider that slides down everything. So I think the one thing this, you know, doing this review just kind of showed me is, hey, why don't you go make a slider for music and sound effects at least, rather than just one slider for everything. But even if this game just had one slider for music and sound effects and you just want to balance it all out yourself, that's fine. I just want to be able to turn it down so I can hear myself and so people can hear me talk over, you know. But essentially, you could do the same thing with your volume on your speakers, you know, if you're not trying to stream
right.
as well. But especially since I'm doing this review with you, Sarah, if I turn the music on, I wouldn't be able to hear you, even though I could turn the slider down on OBS manually for my game sounds. That would still turn you down. So,
right.
Yep.
You know, yeah. I mean, you should have a slider for music.
I just think that most people, this hit that I'm giving this game isn't going to be a big deal at all. But it's still something that I think we should see in an otherwise perfect game. I'd like to see a music slider for this game, and that's why I say I hit you harder than you probably deserved, Mr. Ian McClarty. But otherwise, perfect game. And I hope we see that he'll add music sliders and make this game a perfect 100. Because this game is without a doubt perfect 100. Especially, I was going to go back and I was going to look at let's take a look at this real quick. Game and music made by Ian McClarty. Thanks to those are probably all like testers or people who helped him. Feel free to email me with any questions, complaints, or praise. For updates what I'm currently working on, blah, blah, blah. If you enjoyed JumpGrid, please consider leaving a review and telling your friends. Well, that's what I'm doing right here, guys. I'm telling you to go buy this game, support this developer, this amazing developer who has made a... this is exactly why I do what I do, guys. Again, this is what I'm looking for. Games like this. I think a lot of people go in and think that, oh, the only kind of games you like, Zaxtor, are space shooter games, you know, stuff like that. Really?
Not even close.
The space shooter game that I've just played got a 67.
Right.
JumpGrid here, completely different kind of game, got a 95, and otherwise perfect game if only he. So he definitely needs a lot more 18 cells. Whoever gave this game a knock is. I'm really curious what somebody had to say. Like, how could somebody give this game a negative review? One person.
Right.
I played through the whole thing in one 70-minute session. Now my right hand is sore. What can I say? Well, okay, so you played through the whole game in 70 minutes, so a little over an hour.
They are complaining that their hand is sore because they played a game.
Because it's so addicting they couldn't stop. But the challenge is to find just the right way, remember it, and input that button sequence correctly into your keyboard. But that's part of the fun, is discovering the pattern. Yes, there's a lot of patterns you have to discover, but that's where the fun comes, is in discovering the pattern for each different level. Yes, there is more remembering and try and error than reacting. I feel like there's a lot of reacting, which is bad in my opinion. I mean, some people like to input the same button sequence for years, but I think what this guy is saying here...
Wait a minute, what? He's complaining that you have to hit WASD to move?
No. What this guy's trying to say here, Hun, is like... I think what this guy is trying to say is there's a pattern for each level. As you saw, I was exploring what pattern or what I needed to do to get through each level.
Yeah.
So I think what this guy is knocking is this guy is saying, hey, this game needs to have randomization. Like, he's basically saying the same level, it should be random movement by the walls or whatever, causing you to have to do a different thing every single time. That would be impossible. That's an impossible request for this type of a game. You're not going to be able to make those walls and stuff like that on each level move in a random sequence. You're asking for too much, man. This developer's
maybe this commenter should go out and make a game himself then.
Yeah, I think he's asking for too much for this type of a game. Any type of game like this is going to have, you know, it's going to have a pattern you have to figure out, and once you figure out that pattern, you're going to be able to beat that level easier the next time. That's part of exploring it and part of the exploration.
A lot of games are that way, though.
Exactly, yeah. That's where the fun's at. You got 100 levels to figure out. You're not going to know what to do until you explore it and die several times, as you just saw. The fun in this game is not in repeating the same things after. The fun in this game is exploring how to beat each level. this isn't a game that's going to have a super high replay value as that after you've already beat those 100 levels, being able to go back and play them again because of randomization. If you can remember every sequence of how to get past every level, yeah, it's not going to be as much fun the second, the third, and especially the 100th time you play this game. Because there is no randomization like that. But this is a puzzle.
But is anything ever?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you watch a movie 100 times, it kind of gets pretty boring after so long. You know, I mean, everything is going to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it interesting.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
I find it interesting how, you know, if this guy was able to make this game with randomization, then you would have somebody else complaining that there's no real sense of purpose in finding a way to beat the level, because the next time they played it, it was frustratingly hard and changed, and what they learned was out the roof. And I mean, like you say, Sarah, for every person that likes something about a game, somebody else is gonna.
There's gonna be one person who wants to poo-poo it, and even if they did accomplish randomizing the levels, there's only so many moves you can make, only so many ways you can make it random, and then you're going to have to repeat that process. It's going to be on some kind of a loop eventually.
One thing I was going to say, Sarah, is like, yeah, I don't agree with this guy at all. I understand what he's saying. He'd like to see randomization so that it has a higher replay value. I get that. But no, I think this game is better suited just as it is. Even if it had that randomization, like you're talking about, I still think the game's better as it is than if it had randomization. I think it's more fun trying to explore and learn that pattern for each level, and that makes this game special because it's really fun. It's really, really, really fun trying to find that pattern you're talking about, and that's where this game is so much fun. So I disagree wholeheartedly with this guy who knocked the game. One thing I was going to talk about is, like, humans, Sarah.
Yes.
So, what is it?
Now we're getting on the talk part.
Yeah, yes. We're talking about philosophy now.
Now we're talking.
So this game has 32 reviews or whatever, all positive. What is it about us that when we're looking at a game, or thinking about buying or whatever, we can look at it and we can say, hey, this game has 98% positive reviews, 99% positive reviews, or whatever. A game could be overwhelmingly positive reviews. Was one negative review. So if it had 100 reviews, it has one negative review.
Yeah.
Rather than reading all the positive rave reviews for the game, what do we all do? We all do exactly what I just did there. We look at, the only review I read was the negative review. What is it that makes us do that? You know? Well, after playing the game, I was really curious what the knock was that somebody had on this game, because I was like, this is a fantastic game. As you saw, I just scored it about 100, except for the one little knock. I was like, how could somebody possibly give this a negative review? To me, which a negative review is like under a 40% or lower. I'd like, how does somebody give this game under a 40% score? You know? I don't get it. Go play Ding Dong. 99 cents. It has randomization, random stuff coming at you. You can't learn a sequence. There's a lot of games like that. This isn't that type of a game, and it's beautiful for what it is. And for what it is, perfect 100, except for the one little knock I gave the game.
Yep.
So I like JumpGrid.
Definitely.